Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about the plot twist of Batman Arkham Knight. So spoilers if you haven't played this 5-year-old game. But I don't know, this video shouldn't really be a shock to people who watch my channel frequently. I've done a few videos where I explain things that I would have changed about Batman Arkham Knight. And this video isn't going to be that in the sense where I'm going to go over a lot of the narrative points that I have issues with, but instead I'm just going to talk about the one thing that I think is the true detriment to the plot of Batman Arkham Knight. And I think that that was the Arkham Knight reveal. The reason that I think that this hurts the story so much is it is so disappointing, it doesn't make any sense, and they put so many eggs in this basket. They thought that the Arkham Knight reveal was going to be top tier Arkham content, that the entire plot is dedicated to it. They demote every other major Arkham villain to being a one-hit KO side mission. They really didn't put a lot of energy into a Two-Face story or a Penguin story or anything like that, and everything was devoted to the Arkham Knight. Even Scarecrow, yes, he had a pretty major plan. You have Joker kind of running around in Batman's subconscious, and that's all fine and good, but the main plot of Batman Arkham Knight, it doesn't feel like the main plot. A lot of people say that the Arkham Knight is really kind of the third most important villain of the game, but when you're replaying the game, even though it does feel that way, and I acknowledge that, you look at the amount of time that's spent on the Arkham Knight and who's the Arkham Knight, what's going on, that it just feels so shallow. And the reason is because they follow a trend that isn't officially labeled, but I've started noticing it, especially in video games, when they try to do plot twists. And it's what I like to call the pretentious payoff. And what I mean by that is they have a reveal that they think is really smart and really clever, but they are so focused on keeping it a secret and trying to outsmart you as the audience with it that they end up ruining their own story trying to tell it. And instead of doing it in a smart and clever way, they end up sabotaging their own plot twist, and they end up just really ruining it. And Arkham Knight is very much the case of that. Now let's look at a game like Batman Arkham City that has good plot twists. Again, spoilers for Arkham City. So it's revealed that Ra's al Ghul is actually the mastermind behind Arkham City. Now, as I go through these plot twists, it's okay if you don't like them, but to see how they actually work structurally, I think is relevant. So Ra's al Ghul is the mastermind behind Arkham City. It fits Ra's al Ghul's character. He wants crime in Gotham gone, so it makes sense that he would set up this scenario in which he gathers the most corrupt people into one place in Gotham and destroys them, just blows them all up. Hugo Strange, it makes sense that he'd go along with this plan. He wants power, he wants knowledge, and in this scenario, if it's successful, he gets to be the successor to Ra's al Ghul. That works for him. Clayface being Joker, it's consistent. They drop tons of clues and hints along the course of the game for both of these plot twists. And if you replay Arkham City right now, knowing those two plot twists, it's still consistent. Everything about this world makes sense through that lens. Arkham Origins, the Joker reveal, Joker is Black Mask. I hate it too. I know a lot of people really don't like it, but again, structurally it works. We're trying to tell a story where Joker goes from being a nobody, or at least not known in Gotham, to suddenly being the biggest crime lord in the city. Again, I don't think that's the story that necessarily should have been told, but it works. I mean, it makes sense that if that's the story that you are telling, that rather than spending 2 years of Joker trying to build up his reputation, he'd just sabotage another crime lord's operation and then do something that's huge, gets a lot of attention from the criminal underworld. You know, we're going to kill the Batman, the biggest guy that you know. I'm going to hire all these assassins. There's $50 million on the line. And it's this huge deal. And then it's and I'm not Roman Sionis. Then that suddenly puts him in the spotlight. Again, it works for the narrative of the game. And when you replay it, it's consistent. I wouldn't say that the setup for that one is nearly as good, but it's consistent. Now, in Batman Arkham Knight, if you go into the game knowing Jason Todd is the Arkham Knight, it doesn't make sense. Not only does it not make sense, but they don't build up a precedence for it to be Jason Todd. And instead, I don't think they intentionally do this, but they spoil their own plot twist. And if you'll remember, the main selling point of Batman Arkham Knight was, who is the Arkham Knight? Who could it be? You know, it's someone who's known and studied Batman for years and years, but it's also an original character. And so that was like, I remember for like the years leading up to Arkham Knight's release, or really it was just about a year, 9 months or so, because it got pushed back. It was only gonna be like a 6 month wait. I guess it was like over a year that we knew that it was coming before it released. But that whole year, I remember theory videos like all the time coming up on YouTube, like, who is the Arkham Knight? Could it be Hush? Could it be Robin? Could it be Alfred? Could it be Barbara Gordon? Could it, like, who could it be? And how are they going to do this? So rather than doing something interesting, like having it be Dick Grayson or, Tim Drake or Hush, they just have it be Jason Todd. So they just have the Red Hood story, but they just give him a different persona and act like it's a big plot twist that it's him. The problem is that this is all done for shock value, and they don't really even set up that Jason Todd exists in this universe until, like, I mean, in the other games, like, they had, like, little hints to him, but nothing that I would canonically say, like, proves that Jason Todd exists in this universe. Like, they have a little hint in a challenge map where Joker's like, wait, aren't you supposed to be dead to Robin? Or, like, haven't I killed you already? That, to me, isn't, like, a canonical, like, Jason Todd for sure exists, and, we had the whole death in the family thing. And the problem is that when they do decide to do the exposition for the death in the family stuff, it's so lazy. They literally wait until like 10 minutes before the plot twist, before the big reveal, and they show you like 5 minutes of flashback of Joker beating up and then killing Jason Todd. Now, this is the other problem. I think that they thought that by showing Joker shoot Jason in the head, that they would throw everyone off, that everyone would be like, oh, so it's not him because it's somebody else. Nope, it's Jason Todd. He removes the mask because it's Jason Todd, someone that we just met 5 minutes ago in this universe. Now, they could have set this up so much better, and I guess that's where I'll start. I'll start with how the setup is really bad, and then I'll move into how the consistency is really bad. So if they'd have set this up way earlier in the story, if you'd have had the first mission be Batman trying to rescue Jason Todd from Joker, and it could be like a flashback of from 5 years ago or something. And you can even do a few different flashbacks. Like, this game really could have explored Batman feeling like he's failed so many people. You could show a flashback of Nightwing leaving Batman saying, I'm not going to be your sidekick anymore because you're so brutal. We could see more stuff like the Killing Joke where Barbara Gordon gets shot and paralyzed. We could see, just a lot of different things. We could watch the Wayne murders again. And then we could get like little hints. And rather than us having like a 15-hour story of Batman being like, who's the Arkham Knight? And Alfred being like, I have no idea, sir. It could be them like spitballing back and forth. Like, well, could it be Barbara Gordon? Maybe there's a way that she's fixed her paralysis. Is she pissed that I didn't save her? Could it be Dick Grayson? Has he decided that your way doesn't work? Yeah. Could it be Jason Todd somehow? Could it be Tim Drake? Like, and it would have been far more interesting because then you have this cast of suspects, and you may think like, well, if they showed death in the family stuff earlier in the game, that would have like kind of ruined their plot twist as well. The problem is that this plot twist, because there was no precedence for Jason Todd in this universe, you have to give the exposition for it. You have to plant this payoff. You can't just throw a plot twist in without any pre-existing reason for this person existing. Now, I'm just saying that if they had given us this exposition earlier in the game, and they could have given us red herrings as well. Like I mentioned, we could have seen a lot of examples of Batman failing. It could have been a lot of different people. Then when the reveal happens and it's Jason Todd, then it would be a bit more shocking, and it would be like more interesting, because then we'd want to know why he's back, why he hates Batman more than all of these other people who he's failed. Personally, I would have done the reveal differently. It wouldn't have been Jason Todd, and I'll just segue into this very briefly. I would have done the Arkham Knight as Batman's inner demon. The plot twist for me would be that the Arkham Knight doesn't actually exist, and he's kind of just a figment of Batman's imagination, and it would be the representation of Bruce's failure. So the boss battle, rather than being some weird stealth thing, would be you actually hand-to-hand combating the Arkham Knight. And every time you would punch off the mask, and then they'd like put the mask back on. But every time you punched it off, it would be somebody different. So it would be like, you punch off the mask and it's Dick Grayson, and then he taunts you in the ways that you failed him. And then you punch it off and it's Jason Todd, and he taunts you and how you failed him, and then it's Barbara Gordon and how you failed her. And so it would be like all these people that Batman knows and the way that he's failed them. Now, if you want to keep the militia and the military and everything, all these extra enemies, you got to do something different. And a lot of people say that the answer to this is to change the reveal from Jason Todd to somebody like Hush or Azrael. The problem is that I don't think that really fixes the consistency. And I think that's the ultimate problem with this reveal. First of all, it's the setup, but then it's also the consistency. You look at the fact that Jason Todd dies. We see him get shot in the head by Joker, and it's implied that Joker faked this video or something. That's just lazy. That's a cop-out. That is such a stupid, lazy way, like roundabout way of saying, yeah, we were just trying to throw you off, so that plot point doesn't really matter. So they straight up show Jason Todd getting shot in the head. Don't really explain why he's back, why Joker, did Joker let him go? Did he escape? Why did he not? It just doesn't work. Like, how did Jason Todd go from dead on the floor with a bullet in his head to commanding thousands of drones, thousands of tanks, thousands of personnel? And, you can give me the whole fan fiction answer of, well, he went to Venezuela and he got all these people to work for him. Like, how? Where did he get the money? How did he get there? It just doesn't work. It's the biggest plot hole. And it's not consistent. And you look at someone like Batman. Batman is not a military leader. He's a vigilante who glides around rooftops. So for Jason Todd to suddenly know all of this training is also very weird. But like I said, it doesn't really make sense for it to be Hush or Azrael because they don't really have those resources or that level of training either. So I don't know that changing it from Jason Todd to someone else would have been as impactful. And I do like the idea of it being someone who was that close to Batman, someone who was Robin, literally the sidekick to Batman. I like that idea. The problem, again, is the consistency. So how can we keep it as Robin, but still keep the game pretty much as it is? So how do we keep the reveal as Jason Todd? So the Arkham Knight takes off the mask and it's Jason Todd. How do we keep this consistent so that when I'm replaying the game and fighting tanks and militia, I feel like it's a consistent follow-up to the other games? And I think that I've figured out how I would do it. And my answer, I think, would tie Arkham Knight far more closely with Arkham City in particular. It would explain why Jason Todd has this military group backing him, why he has all these resources, why he has all this training, and more importantly, why he actually calls himself the Arkham Knight and dresses the way that he does in a more interesting way. So the answer is I would have, in the canon, established that Joker did in fact shoot Jason. Jason is dead. I would have done what they do in the Under the Red Hood animated film, where Jason Todd is dead and he's actually brought back to life by Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul puts him in the Lazarus pit. It makes him a bit unstable, on top of him already having all this resentment built up towards Batman. So in my version, Ra's al Ghul, his daughter's dead. He's not doing so hot if you play the Arkham Knight DLC. So obviously he'd be looking for a successor. Batman clearly does not want this job. So the way that I would do it is I would have Ra's al Ghul find Jason Todd's body. He brings him back to life. He offers him the chance to be the head of the demon, to succeed him. He gives Jason Todd all this training. He gives him all these resources, and he essentially tasks him with go to Gotham and destroy crime in Gotham. Take out the corruption, and that includes Batman. And then Jason Todd can already have this resentment toward Batman of he wasn't able to save me from Joker. His way doesn't work. So then when you're replaying the game and you're going up against all these militia enemies and you're going up against all these tanks and stuff, it's like, oh, okay, so he got a lot of resources from the League of Assassins. And I don't know, in Arkham City, we got I don't know, it felt like the League of Assassins, all we really saw was Talia's guard. We didn't really see their operation in full. So I don't know, I feel like you could have even had the militia be more ninja-like and more stealthy and more kind of in the vein of what the Arkham Knight is, these anti-Batman characters. And you could just later reveal that they are League of Assassin members that we just haven't seen quite yet. And I don't know, I really think that it just would have been so much more interesting. It would have concluded Ra's al Ghul's arc, the fact that he really wants a successor. It would have fulfilled Jason Todd's arc, or at least, like, given him an actual arc instead of just pulling him in as the plot needed and using him as the plot needed them to. I don't know. I just think that it's such a no-brainer, just such an easy fix. Just have it be that Ra's al Ghul brought him back, wanted him to be the successor. There you go. Like, I don't know. I think that that's really an easy fix that would have made a lot of my issues with Batman Arkham Knight go away. It would have fixed a lot of the consistency, and it just would have provided a lot more closure. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think that giving it that twist, giving the reveal that caveat would have improved it? Do you think it just makes it more stupid? Just let me know what you guys think. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.